Hey guys, so I'm just gonna keep working on this scene, see how far I get in the couple of hours that I have. I just completed the bonus tutorial slash office hours section, basically recovering the using cameras and setting up your sequencer. And I just set up these two shots. I'll post that video and you can watch how I did what I did, right? Downloaded a little teddy bear, was using a cylinder initially, but just blocking out my scenes and gathering some assets. This teddy bear was procured on Sketchfab. So I'm just gonna keep working and talk you through some of the things that I'm doing, just so you understand what's going on. But ultimately, I want to fill this entire timeline here, 720 frames, which is about 30 seconds at 24 frames per second, with these scenes, and I might start to revise some of my initial ideas too, right? So I'll just keep going. Um, I'm going to swap out this teddy bear here because that teddy bear is not the same teddy bear as the one that the child is carrying. And so I actually want to replace that with a different toy. The toy I've selected is the Nakagin Capsule Tower toy that is visible in some of these interior views here, like this guy. Let's open up PureRef because I might want to start. Oh, there it is. PureRef. Let's load my scene. All right, started gathering entourage images here. I think I might have gone over this. Looking at old concrete. Um, Basically, there's like little toy models of the Nakakin Capsule Tower, and that's going to be or helpful in contextualizing my scene. So let's find some stuff, right? Here's my child climbing up the stairs. I'm just gonna take a screen grab of that, and I'll pop it in my scene. Here's my teddy bear. This is the one. So let's screen grab that. Right, entourage, child holding the bear. What else do I need? I guess for now that'll do. So let's work with those two. Oh, the capsule tower itself. I think I got that on SketchUp. 3D warehouse. Capsule tower. Again. What? Did I spell it wrong? Ah, models. There we go. Right, there are a couple of these. These are all SKP files, so I have to filter it through SketchUp. I think you have SketchUp on your computer, so you should be able to do that. I did that at some point while I was at the school, and I have those here. As you can see, one of these are quite big and the other is quite small. I don't need anything that's 1.3 gigs, 1.2.5 gigs. Let's take a look at the smaller version. It may take a little while to load, so let's just keep going. There it is. Right? Boom, perfect. Right? At the distance I'll be at from this thing, I think this will work just fine. And so this is an FBX file. So I'm just going to go in my Unreal, go to my content browser, props. I'm going to create a folder, right? This is where I brought Teddy. So here's Teddy. Teddy, go to your room. And I'm going to create a new folder, call it Knack Toy, or Knack again Capsule Toy. And let's just go to add, import to games, props, Knack Toy. And I'm going to find the location of that, which is in my box drive. And it's the one with number 1. Let's just go ahead and add it. Generate missing collision. I'm going to uncheck that and import it. It's going to take a while. Let's talk a little bit about the character. Whoops. The character, this is kind of frozen. Is this Amy character that I'm getting from mixamo.com. This is it was purchased by Adobe a while ago, so if you have an Adobe account, you should be able to log in, and all of this stuff is free. And so you can, find some generic characters and use them. You can actually import your own T-pose characters and rig them on this site as well. So if you have a very specific type of character you want to use, you should do that. Don't go overboard with the character stuff. Just find one that feels as suitable as possible, but you don't want the characters to dominate your scenes. And so chances are you're always just going to kind of see this character from the backside. Maybe you'll see, anywhere where the hand is holding the bear, maybe just the legs as the character walks up the stairs, right? I'm really more interested in conveying what's happening in the scene and how the character is interacting with the architecture than the character itself. So I have this Amy character, and I know I want this character to climb up stairs, and so I can look for some animations related to stairs and see that there is an animation with this character ascending stairs. You can see the hand is kind of like in a gripping position. We can take a look at some others. This one is a little bit more natural, but again, just climbing stairs. And this is just a looping animation, so I don't know if maybe the pace is a little bit, the pace is pretty good. I can adjust things like the spacing of the arms, like the arms are out a little bit further. I can increase the speed of the movement or decrease the speed of the movement, right? Maybe if she's sad, I do it a little bit slower. If she's happy and excited, I can make her go faster. But I think this seemed like a pretty good pace. And again, you're only going to see the character from this position, so never really seeing the character's face. And I think the anonymity is going to be helpful here. The bear is going to be held on her right hand. I don't know, should it be right hand or left hand? If I click on this mirror button, it'll just invert or reverse the character, right? So you can see the left hand isn't moving as much, the right hand is swinging, and then vice versa here. And so if I want the bear on the right hand, I think I want the bear on the right hand, so I'll do this. And so now I can click on download, If I download, I already downloaded the character model itself, which is skeletal mesh. So I'm just going to download the animation without the skin, and the skin is just referring to the 3D model itself, right? And so you can see down here, I have walking up the stairs, and then I have the character imported, and so I don't need to do it again. I'm just going to hit cancel. But what I might want is just a plain walking animation. And you can see there's a variety of walking, right? This is walking with purpose. I can check in place so I can see what that looks like. Maybe slow down a little bit. What does this one look like? It's just more of like a brooding walk, like that. Oh, walking left turn. Or walking with a briefcase. Let's see. Let's increase the arm spacing a bit. Maybe slow. Right. She's swinging this arm and not this arm, and it's the right hand. So maybe this is where a good animation for the child to be carrying the teddy bear. And so I'm going to download this one, and again, without skin, FBX, everything else is fine. Let's hit download, and I might download a couple of extra. We'll go over this more after the proof of concept. I don't think anyone needs to do this for the proof of concept. I might just use, I'll just show you in case you want to use it. It's not that difficult, but I don't want you to fuss over the characters. How's this work? This is a nice space. I kind of like this walk. And I'm pulling the arms out because she will be carrying the teddy bear on her right hand. So I like this one too. I'm going to go ahead and download that. Right, you can download as many animations as you want, and you'll associate those animations to that particular character. And so get some extra. Oops, I don't want to mirror. This one doesn't have an in place option. I guess he's just walking in a circle. I kind of like this, but she needs to move clockwise in my scene. So I might grab this one as well. So let's grab that. And that's probably fine for now. So here's my capsule tower. Came with a bunch of stuff. Everything is in pieces. Right? So I don't like this. I mean, in theory, if I grabbed everything unchecked, right? So in theory, if I drag this in now, it should all come together. So hopefully that doesn't crash. Didn't. I'm gonna go into my scene. So I just maximized my scene by clicking in the upper left corner, And I just want to turn off this camera and just see where my tower is. So I'm going to hit F. There is my tower. Oops. Very far away. So I need to scale this down, obviously. I'm going to see if I can group this. I'm going to group this. Here, let's undo. I just want to put this together. So maybe I just need to put it. There's a lot of assets associated with this thing. Okay, so let's right click. Attach to pivot. I think maybe if I just hit the plus button. There we go. And call it yak toy so we know what's what. So now if I want to delete that base, they're not connected, right? They're not in like a parent-child relationship, but they are all together. I suppose maybe I will group these. So now, yeah, so now if I grab one, kind of grabbing them all. You can see the little green bar. So now I'm going to hit F to zoom in. And there's our, it's at the right scale. It looks about right. I want to shrink this down. Maybe I need to do, how small should it be? 0.001. And then I'm going to go to F to focus. It's not really letting me do that, but let's see. At 1 to 100 scale, maybe it's too small. Let's do 0.01. Okay, let me just undo this. There's the big one. So grab, I'm just going to manually scale it down. There we go. I don't know why I was not able to see it. Okay. F. I'm just going to shift, move. I'm looking for my teddy bear scene. I'm too low. Okay. So I'm going to hit P to visualize my navigation. And getting closer. There it is. All right, so here's my landing. I need to shrink this even further. shot. Is this where? Right. Toy. So now let's go back to our sequencer. It seems like, there we go. Now I can see it. So let's go back to our shot. I'm going to shrink it down even further. Let's turn off my scales now. Oh my god, this is really annoying. There we go. About that size. Let's rotate it. Still too small. Let's try 0.001. Sorry, 0. That's a good size, maybe. Scale. Okay, so there it is. I'm gonna go in my shot and adjust the focus. So that looks like it's in focus. I'm gonna place a key there. I'm gonna delete this key. I just want it to be focused, and then that'll be the end of that. Rule of thirds. Rule of thirds wants me, I might have to rotate my camera a bit. So let's go to my camera. Here, let's just pilot the camera. This is my camera. It's going on here. Something like this. Rule of thirds. Rule of thirds. Okay. I'm going to rebuild lighting. I'm going to pause so you don't have to watch. How do I pause? Shift. So here it is after the light build. It's kind of dark, but it'll do. I think what I'm kind of shifting things around a little bit. So I want the girl to carry the teddy bear up, and then why is this moved over? This. So here's roughly my scene. Girl carrying the teddy bear up. Tower coming into focus. It's a little dark, so I'm going to add a light. The girl will walk around the corner carrying the bear. Decided to add that just to create some more continuity. I do want to light this a little bit more, so I'm going to add a rectangle light here. I want to backlight it. Let's move our barn doors. Maybe. Let's go to shrink this light down. Backlight it. Build lighting only. Let's cancel that for a minute. I actually added this light. I want to bake it into this model. I actually don't want this light to interact with my character that's going to walk around this corner. And that character is movable, so if I make this light static, it's not going to interact with movable objects. When a light is stationary, it'll bake lighting into all static objects. However, it will also cast shadows with movable objects. So in this case, I'm going to set this light to purely static and bake lighting from there. I could also set this to not cast shadows, and you can see what happens. But I do want the light itself to cast shadows when it's baking the lighting information. In theory, I can do the light bake and turn this off, but every time I bake lighting again, it's not going to calculate that shadow. So I'm going to want to keep that on. And in theory, and we'll try this out later, as long as this is static, it won't interfere or interact with any movable objects like my character. So let's go ahead and build lighting. So the build or the light bake is done. My camera is overblown because I added that light. So I'm going to go back and see if I can reduce the exposure compensation that I added. Right, maybe I want it to look something like this. Maybe something like this. I may want to add a light in the background to brighten it up so that the character is going into the light as opposed to going into the dark. So I might even lower this and add a light back here. This light to be static. I want it to be much brighter. Maybe that's too bright, but let's give it a go. Okay, so this is after my light bake. So it's dark on the periphery and light in the middle. So the child is climbing up towards the light. There's a little bit of a backlight now hitting this model. I think that's good. And so child climbing. This camera should probably be adjusted as well. So I'm going to go to the Cinecam Teddy. And let's go to exposure. Just going to tone this down. A touch. All right. Nice. Okay, so at this point, what I can do is add the character. I also want to add some more toys to imply that this also is a child's toy. So let's add a sphere as a ball. This should be movable. I would like a nice little backlight on there. I'm not going to fuss with the lighting too much. just because it could take a long time. And I'm more interested in just blocking out the scene. So there's one toy, and here's a stand-in for another toy. This out, and just rotate it. Then Alt drag to create a duplicate. Scale, rotate, right? And then I might just give it some color. So let's go to my starter content, materials, reduce the size. So this is good. Going to create a material instance. This part is not relevant. You don't have to do any of this. You don't have to add materials at all. I'm just doing this to duplicate. I'm just doing this to give myself some visual cues. Imply this is a toy. We'll make the ball white. Or it already is white. That's fine. In fact, maybe these are too big. Select these two and scale them down. Okay, something like that. Maybe it's a little busy. Yes. So the child is going to walk up. Maybe the ball gets knocked over. The ball rolls across the screen. It's kind of foreshadowing like a wrecking ball coming towards the neck again. Capsule tower. So let's build lighting again and let's see what that looks like. Okay. I'm gonna make this ball red. Okay, so let's go back to our sequence now. Climbing up the stairs. Focus shift. And she walks past. Okay, so let's work on bringing in the character. I'm going to go to my content browser. I have a character folder, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a folder to that one. Call this Amy. Let's call her Akiko. Since we're in Japan. I had a friend named Akiko, so this is in her honor. Let's find our assets. So in our downloads folder, I'm gonna drag our character in, and we could see we're gonna keep this box checked. This is a skeletal mesh, and she comes with bones. So when we do the Mixamo export, she'll be fully rigged, as they say, and so we'll be able to use the animations and have her behave or have her play out the various animations. And so you can see when we bring in a skeletal mesh, we have materials and some textures and a couple of different assets. So one is the skeleton, one is the physics asset, and this is just the skeletal mesh. So if we were to drag the skeletal mesh, you can kind of see what our character looks like in the scene, right? And our skeletal mesh doesn't have any animations associated with her, so she's very much just standing in her T-pose. Now I'm going to bring in the animations that I downloaded. So there's walking up the stairs, walking with a briefcase, walk, and walk in the circle. I'm going to drag these in. And what this is going to do is this is going to associate with that skeleton, right? So all these animations have are positional information that's going to link to the bones of the animation. And so I'm only bringing in animation information. There's no mesh. The mesh is here. So now if we open our skeletal mesh, here's our character, and this looks a little different, so bear with me. And here are some of the animations that are associated with her. So this is her walk animation. This is her stair climbing animation. Walking in a circle animation. She looks to the left and walks to the right. I'm not a big fan of the material because it is a bit shiny. So I might go to roughness, and I can just type in a constant. And let's make roughness 1, which means there's no shininess whatsoever. So I don't want her to look like plastic. All right, so now if we double click on, let's let it run. Okay. Let's open up the skeletal mesh. So now, she's not shiny and plasticky anymore. I also don't like the colors here. It's a little distracting. So one, I can go in here and I could probably just do this. And if I hit apply, I think she'll just be black and white. Strange. Or I can go and do a desaturate. So now she's completely desaturated. Let's hit apply. So she'll just look black and white. Right? The other way of doing that is to take this texture into Photoshop. So if I go and take this, let's open Photoshop. And I can adjust these in Photoshop. So for instance, I'm going to select this color range, which represents her hair. I only want to select her hair. I'm just going to manually add some of these parts. So shift. And then I'm going to make these black. Is that too dark? Let's go with this. Is that too much? It's a little bit of blue. And let's change the pink, a different color. Let's go to image adjustment. Hue and saturation. Let's desaturate a little bit. Change the hue. Sure, why not? Let's just give that a try. Oh, okay. So I'm going to save this as, so I don't want to replace it. Let's just give it a number. And I'm going to take this and bring it in. First, X. To bring it in here. Texture. My materials. And I'm going to connect that to base color. We'll go over materials in greater detail later. For those of you who are interested, I'm just changing one of the textures so that she doesn't have to do hair, basically. So yeah, there you go. She's wearing different clothes and has darker hair, and maybe that feels a little bit more right. Whatever. So we have the teddy bear, which is good. We want her to walk up the stair. I'm going to select my Amy character, and I'm actually going to attach. So let's first take out the teddy bear from the rig rail. I actually want to attach the teddy bear to Amy's hand in an interesting way. And so if I go into Amy's character, I said that I wanted her to have, or to hold the bear in her right hand. And so what I can do is I can attach the teddy bear directly to her bone, or I can create what's known as a socket. And a socket is just a position for an asset to be attached to the character, so that as the character moves, the socket moves, and anything attached to that socket will move as well. So I'm going to go to her right hand. And maybe her right finger. Does that make sense? Right hand. I'm going to add a socket. So there's what's now called a right hand socket. I can add a preview asset just to see what an asset would look like. And I'm just going to look for that teddy bear. That's precisely what I want to add. And so now if we look at the teddy bear is not at the correct scale, but I should be able to I'll be moving the teddy bear relative to her hand and scaling it up in the actual scene itself. But to give you a sense of what this is doing, if she walks, you can see that that teddy bear is just attached to her her arm in this weird way, as if it were super glued onto her wrist, right? But this is more or less the effect that we want, because we're going to see that she's climbing the stair, and then there's like this teddy bear that she's holding on, except it's going to look a little bit more natural than that. Okay, so good. And I'm going to drag this teddy bear now onto my character, and now it's going to give me some options in terms of where it can go. So I'm going to look for that right hand socket that I created. But as you can see here, I can attach there it is. I can attach this bear to any bone as well. And so let's move now teddy bear relative to her right hand. So now if I take Amy, I can rotate Amy. The bear is going to move with her. And so now I'm going to move the bear to her right hand. What happens if I move? Right, that's strange. So basically I want to position the bear in a way that makes sense. Right, so maybe she's holding the bear's arm or something like that. Okay, so now I want the Amy character to be attached to the camera rig. So I'm going to drag the Amy character and make it a child of the camera rig. So now if we go to sequencer, we can see that Amy is climbing the stair, right? Maybe I don't want, so you can see Amy is kind of leaning back as she's going, and I actually don't want that. So let's go to the rig rail. Gonna hit the F to find the rig rail. And you can kind of see that she's tilting back because this is tilted as well. So one thing I could do is I can uncheck this box. Somehow it seems to have broken the relationship here. Let me undo that. So let's take the Amy character out. Let's go to the character rig rail. I want to uncheck the lock orientation, and I'm going to drag her back on. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's now, she's not moving at all. So let's go back into the teddy bear. Okay. There we go. I don't know why her hair is just turned. It might have to do with the lighting. So I'll have to fix that. And I may actually not use the rig rail for this because I have that stair climbing animation, and maybe I just want her to walk up linearly. Okay, so let's try something different. I'm gonna delete this rig rail, and instead I want to add my Amy character to my scene. In fact, let's stop that. Let's go to the beginning. I'm gonna position my character at the bottom of the stair. Start to go forward there. And I might rotate her ever so slightly. And then I want to add her to my track. So there's her starting position. I'm going to add, actually I think there already is a transform. Right, so I can create a key for location, rotation, and scale. It's really location that matters, but that's fine. And then by the time we're up here, I'm gonna position her moving up and down. Now, I don't want her to sort of be a flying T-pose, and so I'm going to add the animation track. So if I click on this animation plus button, I've got a bunch of, I got all of her animations here. So I can click on the walking up the stairs. And what I'm going to do is just extend this basically from the beginning and stretch this out because this is a looping animation, right? She's just going to keep, right? And you can see that the speed of her movement isn't matching the position. So this is going to take quite a bit of tweaking. But, you know, it's actually working pretty well. She's climbing up the stairs. And, you know, by the time she gets here, right, so I might position her back a little bit. And so I don't know why there's this little, what's this little jump? Don't like this at all. Don't know why that's happening. So she's kind of doing this weird jumping from one thing to another. So I want this to be in place. Let's pause this for a minute. So we want this to start and end. It looks like it is. I guess the problem is she jumps a little bit How did we fix that? Well, first off, let's see if there's a stair animation that doesn't do that. So if we did in place, she's jumping there too. It's very strange. Okay. It's kind of annoying. So let's fix that. So one thing okay, so the fast way of doing this is to stop the clip there, right? Because she looks pretty natural as she's climbing up these stairs. Right. I may want to move. Okay, and then the other way of fixing it is I just have to change her transform. At each point, she does this little transition, right? So I can set the transform. I can set the transform there. So she climbs up. So let's it's gonna be tricky because I need to kind of keep track. So there's the pink. There's pink and there's her arm. So I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna have to move her there. So that's kind of working. The camera is passing right? And I also want the bear to be the brightest thing on the screen. Well, we'll fix that later. That's kind of working. Where are you? Let's go. So let's take a look at what's happening from a different vantage point. So walk, walk, walk. There's a little bit of a let's try to keep this. So these three, I do want to move it a touch forward. Step, 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 step. Oh, it's pretty good. So now she's climbing. Oh no, I don't like that. So I'm gonna undo. Follow that original shot. Okay. What I might do instead is stop my scene here or there. Master. Weird glitch, but whatever. And then there's this, she'll continue to climb. Okay, maybe that'll. So I want her, the end of a step animation here, and then she'll just continue around the corner. So for this, I may want a rig rail. Let's just not bother with that. Let's try it without first. Okay, so starting from about this point, right, I might want to go into the shot. I may want to move these keyframes a little bit further up. So it's still blurry, and then it gets in focus. So let's move these out even further still. So she's walking at this point. So in this track, I'm going to add actually don't need this. I'm not using this rig rail, right? Does it still work? I should have gotten rid of that rig rail sooner. You know what I think I might do is just add a new version of Amy. Okay, so let's leave this version of Amy alone and go to master sequence and right around this point. So let's add a new character. Other side now. I might put my Amy character here. Right, except I might want to. So, well, actually, I called her Akiko. So I want her to jump here. So let's add character to our sequence. Somewhere here, I'll maybe at this point here. Let's add. And let's see what that animation looks like. She's moving too fast. So let's let's open this transform. Let's look at this key. I actually want to also pull her back a little bit. So I kind of want to cut this off here, and I actually want to add, let's try adding the circle walking animation. Right. So here I'm going to add another transform key, and then here I need to move her to somewhere around here. Let's see if that works. There's this weird jump. Let's see if this fixes it. Now I want to attach a copy of this bear. So right at this moment, I'm going to take this ball, add that, check the transform, and by the end of the sequence, the ball will have rolled over. then the speed. Right, so one thing I could do is give it physics. Let's make it constant. I don't want it to ramp up, it's basically. Let's do linear. Let's go to our master sequence. So she's climbing up the stairs. It's got the toy. Going around the corner. I don't like that. I may want to extend this a little bit further. Let's just add a little extra. Go to the master sequence. I have to keep the camera going, but so let's go here. Master. These weird glitches. Okay. So that's that. I think this is starting to kind of do it. And then the next scene is the tumbling toy. Um, hmm. So that might have to be associated with some audio. So now I'm questioning, do I want right hand teddy bear, or do I want left hand teddy bear? Let's do something like this. left hand teddy bear makes a little more sense here. Yeah. Okay. So let's detach. Let's take the teddy bear. I'm going to duplicate this bear because I'm going to need another version of it later. I'm going to take this and attach it to our character. So this one. And instead of the right hand side, I'm just going to do left hand. Move the bear. Camera. Let me just change. Set a rotation key here. And I may want to rotate down. This point, let's set the rotation. From there to turn the pitch down. I think that is fine. Let's just stick with it. Okay, so now this teddy bear. Where's this other teddy bear? Right, the doppelganger teddy bear needs to go to this character, and I'm going to do left hand again. Do we need to go up or down? Where's the other character? You can see the teddy bear is just kind of like going right through her, but you get the idea. All right, this is good. She knocks the ball over, foreshadows. I mean, should she literally knock the ball into the thing and it falls over? That might be a good. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So she'll knock that ball, and it'll actually hit the model, and that'll be my next shot. Okay. Do I have time to do it? Yeah, I think I can at least make some progress. So, all right, my next shot is this, the thing falling down. These are very tight spaces. And so what I might do is stage this somewhere else. So let's do everything in Rhino since you guys are more familiar with Rhino. So I'm going to open Rhino and I'm just going to create this view. So there'll be a wall in the background, the stairs. I guess it'll be sectional, so maybe this will all just be poche and black. And then we'll have a physics object that is going to fall that's in the shape of the capsule tower. So let's go in here and I'm going to change my units to centimeters because I'm not going to use Datasmith for this. Although I guess I could. Units. Let's do centimeters. Okay, so let's see. I mean, it doesn't matter. So let's do. So 15 centimeters. And let's say 25. 20. Seems about right. Just need enough extra. Let's join that. I'm just going to extrude this as a solid. Right, so here are my steps. Why is it solid? Can I cap planar holes? There we go. Okay. So here's my solid. I need a wall. I don't need much wall, but right. What do I want to CB? Doesn't have to be. Right, so this could be it. So I'm going to export selected motion builder FBX. And I'll probably refine this later, so I'm just gonna send this out as just send them out both together essentially. So let's see, this is not the right place. Let's just put it in box drive, sets. Let's just call this stairs section. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each one a different material. They are right. Are these? Yeah. Plus. Right. So I'm going to give this material and this material, so that I'm going to have two material slots. So I can give the stair and the wall separate material. And now I'm going to export this SBX file, stair section. Okay. To preview, I can probably way reduce the number of polygons. Okay. So now in Unreal, I want to basically stage this stair scene somewhere completely different. Where is that? Where's my, oh no, that's not the key that I want. No, that's not the key that I want either. So I need a new floor. Well, I don't really, but. So let's drag a cube in here. Let's set this to the origin. Scale this down. Scale this out. So here's my little staging area. Let's make this bigger so you guys can see. I'm going to go to my content browser. And in my props, I just call it a prop. It's not going to be anywhere beyond my cinematic. And I'm going to call this stair section. And I'm just going to import this stair that I just created. Stair section. It's open. It's not a skeleton mesh. I'm not going to generate collisions because I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to click OK. You know, it did come as separate elements, so that's good. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to drop my stair in here. I'm going to take this. If I take my location, copy it, paste it, this is just going to give me the relative positions, right? I'm going to use some materials just because the scene has nothing else besides these two elements. So I'm going to give maybe I'll look for a mega scan material. So let's go into bridge, surfaces. It's kind of like a stucco wall. So let's see if I can stucco. Plaster. Stucco facade. I want something that looks a little rough, but Not too rough. I like this. So let's download and move that over. So here's my stucco facade. I'm going to apply that to the surface. And then for these stairs, there we go. Torn linoleum. I mean, it's really not going to look like that. Whatever. This is fine. And this is for the stair. Let's see what red. Scratched fabric. Ah, maybe I want this rubber flooring sheet. I'm looking for a little just visual noise, that's all. So let's try the rubber flooring. So here's my rubber flooring. Let's pop that on there. Basically, I need to adjust the tiling. See what that looks like. Let's try the stucco. This will be bad. Oh no, it wasn't the stucco that I wanted, but let's make a copy with stucco. Duplicate. Apply this to that. I like the, and then we'll give it an albedo tint of red. Okay, something like this, right? So I'm gonna use my tower. Ultimately, I'm gonna use the tower toy thing. But for the purposes of this, what I'm gonna do is use some cubes to start us off. So I'm gonna just experiment, right? I'm going to let's browse the asset. I'm just gonna open this. And I want to give this a collision. So if I did a box collision, right, it creates this bounding box. This is not going to work the way I want it to in terms of the stair. What I want to do instead is remove that, and what I'm going to do is apply. This is not good either. Good. So let's go to collision. Auto convex. Sit there. more. Let's remove collision. I'm gonna go and do what I did before, which is use complex collision as simple. I'm gonna save that. This is my capsule toy. I'm just going to rotate it randomly, and basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate physics and enable gravity, right? And so if you can imagine, my camera is located here. If I went and simulated this, that's kind of what I want, right? I want to be able to make this sort of fall down the stairs, and I'm going to film that. And I can do like a physics material. Let's try rubber, right? And so let's look at this and then hit simulate again. And, you know, it should bounce a little bit more, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, right? It'll probably help if I raise this up. Where's my widget? Let's move this a little bit higher. You know, it's asking me to rebuild lighting, but right, I'm just gonna do this real quick because I need to run. But here's like that shot. Let's simulate, see what that looks like. Right, I'm gonna test it out a few times and get it to work the way I want it to work. But you know, this is it. It's essentially the toy bounding down the stairs. Let's take this and see if there's another vehicle, ragdoll, cardboard, ice, default. Let's try cardboard. I don't know if that makes. Now, I want it to bounce. So maybe what I want to do is grab a sphere. Shrink it. I'm going to turn this to a physics material and then give it a rubber material. And let's see how these look. Why doesn't this have simulate physics, enable gravity? Why did this fall through? I wonder. Oh, it's probably not touching it, that's why. Let's do that. Okay. Let's go back. I don't know why my widget's not showing up, but it's not. So let's try this out. All right. So what I might do is give my object a spherical collider, so it kind of does the bouncy thing. But yeah, I'm gonna fiddle with it, figure out how to make it work, and make my toy bounce like that instead. Okay, so those are my 3 scenes. It's probably enough to make a 30-second video out of. I think that'll be plenty. I can extend the lengths of it, and if it's shorter, whatever, it's not a big deal. If it's longer, it's not a big deal. But just tell me what the project and the story is all about. Okay, so yeah, that's it. See you later.